All right, we are back live on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. I got Richie joining me tonight. So he's going to be coming in a little bit later. We get the show kicked off. If you could hit that like and subscribe button and help us blow this thing up, that would be much appreciated. And we're also live on TikTok as well. If you could go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button like it says on the banner beneath, get it kicked off. Hopefully everybody's having a good night tonight. And it is May the 6th. Happy Tuesday to everybody. So as we get this started, the thumbnail, Notre Dame signs a huge deal today. Just for the simple fact of, it kind of secures the future. I believe it was a 12-year deal or a 10 or a 12-year deal with Clemson to have Clemson on the schedule every now and then, pretty much basically locking that matchup up in the ACC. I think it's good for both schools. It gives them a big platform. So I think that's something also to be said. I think that moving forward, that is something that'll be positive. Me and Richie will get into that a little bit later. So that's just something else out there. But one of the big things is Michigan self-imposing a 2-game suspension for Sherrone Moore. I think that that's something that is very interesting. The whole saga. With that being said, it's been a total complete mess up there ever since Harbaugh left, the Connor Stallions thing. That's something to be said about this. I think that, moving forward, Michigan's got a hole they have to dig out of. I don't know if that is going to be something that they're going to be able to do this year. The NCAA has not delivered their they haven't got their full punishment from the NCAA. Michigan is trying to mitigate their losses here. I think that with that being said and it moving forward, I don't know what they can and can't do. I think that, they have a problem moving forward. I don't know how Sherrone Moore and the administrations up there is going to move this thing forward. They have Santo Ono, their president, is leaving to go to Florida. He's hitting the eject button on that. So I think that's something to be said. The big thing with them, I would say, moving forward is now they have to find a president. Will Ward Manuel step down? That's something that's uncertain. So I think there's big problems up there in Ann Arbor. I don't know how they're going to, like I said, dig out of the hole. They got Bryce Underwood, the number one quarterback, coming in, most likely probably going to start. I don't know how Tony Alford and the rest of the offensive staff is going to move because I don't think Sherrone Moore is going to be allowed to coach practice or even be at practice. See, the difference between him and Harbaugh was Harbaugh was allowed to coach practice. So I think that adds a whole nother element to it. So I think that that's something to be said. It's kind of crazy that it's taken this long for them to get some type of answer or resolution out of this. Do I think that they will navigate this correctly? I don't know. With the president with Santo Ono jumping ship, I think going to Florida it's a good move on his part. with all things being said, it's just something that gets him out of Dodge. He can go to another program and tweet at people on the X machine and tell them bet. So that's just something that is out there. So with that being said, I guess I'll hop into it until Richie jumps in. Joe Klatt of Fox Sports releases his top 25 for the year. His post-spring game top 25. It starts out with Penn State number 1. I think that's really bullish considering they lost to Ohio State. Texas 2. I don't disagree with that. The Arch Manning thing has been the overwhelming storyline that has dominated a lot of the Texas media and a lot of the offseason. It could be like a Shedeur Sanders type thing. If you take the name off the back of the jersey, what do you get? Ohio State number 3. The big thing with the Buckeyes is that they lost a lot of key pieces in my opinion. Jack Sawyer, JTT, Tyleik Williams lost a couple pieces on the offensive line. Ryan Day has since brought in a couple pieces to reload the defense and offensive line. You still have Caleb Downs there, probably one of the better safeties in all of college football. And then moving down a couple other teams, he's got Oregon at 4, Clemson at 5, Notre Dame at 6. But Richie is here. I'll go ahead and bring Richie in. Rich, how we doing, man?
Oh, it's pure chaos at my house right now, Duke. We had Dexcom changeover night, so we're doing good though. Can't complain, buddy. How's everything going your way in good old Pacer country?
Oh, it's good. It's good. I'm assuming you got the game on. So.
Oh yeah, the one time I'm not wearing my Donovan Mitchell jersey, they're up by double digits.
Yeah, one of those things tonight. But I got the Joe Klatt top 25 in here. Penn State won. Any disagreement there?
No, I do not disagree with that at all. They are getting everybody back just like Ohio State was last year. So I don't disagree with that, them being number 1 at all.
And then they got Texas too with the Arch Manning thing. Arch Manning has dominated the offseason for the University of Texas. Everybody hyping up the Arch Manning train. Do you see really any disagreement there with Texas being number 2?
Well, Texas, I mean, they're going based off the Arch Manning hype, but they did lose a lot of key players on offense and defense through the draft this year. So, to me, I think that's a little high for them. A little high. Wouldn't you say, Duke? I mean, they lost their tailback. They lost their wideouts. A couple of offensive linemen.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what Texas is on defense. If that defense is everything that it is cracked up to be. And then we have Ohio State at 3. The Buckeyes lost a lot of key pieces on the offense and defensive lines. Are you subscribing to the fact that they are the number 3 team in the country post spring?
No. I think honestly they should be lower. There's a lot of holes to fill, Duke.
Really, with J.J. Smith, Caleb Downs, and the incoming Julian Sand, nothing but positive reports. New defensive coordinator, but you got O.G. Walt. You have Matt Guerrieri there. I wouldn't be shocked if the Buckeyes are top 5 all year. I think the key to getting to the playoffs is we've seen it last year. You can only lose 2 games.
2 games, yeah. Personally, I think they should be 5 or 6.
So I'll keep rolling down the list. Oregon at 4. Any disagreements there? Oregon replacing a couple offense, defensive linemen, lost a couple skill players, and replacing their new replacing Dylan Gabriel that, for all intents and purposes started, I believe, more games in college football than anybody in the history, or he's got to be up there. UCF to Oklahoma to Oregon. I think that is something that we have. I think Oregon's going to be one of those wait and see teams, and I also think that Oregon popped off at the wrong time last year. And we're also live on TikTok. What up? What up? The CIA. One of the boys I was down in Daga with, and then Sid is over here in the chat. What up, Sid?
Sid, what's up, man?
So one of the teams that I think that is getting slept on just a little bit is Clemson. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm high on Clemson. They got Cade Klubnik coming back. I think that, it's one thing to be said, the teams that made it the farthest last year in the college football playoff had the most guys with starts. You look at Will Howard, you look at Quinn Ewers at Texas, you look at Dylan Gabriel, Drew Aller is going to be one of those guys. It's one of those things that I think that it's one of those things that moving forward, I think that's going to be the trend in college football. And yeah, Riley Leonard had 21 starts, but he was also, he got hurt that year at Duke, so that kind of cut into that number. But Clemson, I think that's one of those things to be said. And Notre Dame at 6 is a question mark because you have a first-year starter with appreciate everybody on TikTok sharing the live. It's one of those things at Notre Dame, you're having a first-year starter. You've got CJ Carr, kind of quiet as kept. I think he's probably most likely going to be the starter. Moving down the list just a little bit more, you have LSU at 7 with Brian Kelly and the family. They lost Bryce Underwood. It's one of those that I think that LSU is building towards the future. I think they've put all their eggs in this basket with Garrett Nussmeier. I think Garrett Nussmeier is probably one of the top QBs in all of college football. I think you could make a case for it. He's right up there with Cade Klubnik, and he's right up there with Drew Aller being one of the top 3 guys. And being in the SEC, I don't think that they have a ceiling as far as I think they can go as high as they can keep Nussmeier upright. And I feel like there's a lot of pressure around LSU right now to keep everything in order because Brian Kelly has a big buyout, and I don't know with the revenue sharing and everything that is coming down the pipe with that. I don't know if you're in the position to make a move, and you don't want to see anybody lose their job, but it's one of those things.
I think it's a make or break year for Brian Kelly. I mean, it's either playoffs or bust because he's underperformed ever since he really got there.
Yeah,
and with the talent in Louisiana they can pull, I mean, it's kind of suspect as to what's really going on down there.
Yeah, and I think that some of the things that went on with the NIL and things of that sort were kind of wonky for a little bit, and I think LSU just needed to figure it out. They had it, but when you look at the SEC as a whole, they figured it out in everything else. They are dominating the baseball scene. They are dominating college basketball. So I think it might take them a little bit, but it could go back to their reign of dominance in football, and then they dominate all three major sports again.
Yeah, I mean, what does that tell you about a conference? The SEC conference, like you said, dude, they figured it out.
And I'm not trying to get on the SEC shill like soapbox thing, but you don't have. It used to be for years, it was just Kentucky and maybe Florida being decent at basketball. Yeah. Now you have Auburn is, a Final Four contender. You have Alabama. You have Arkansas now with John Calipari. Kentucky is still there. So they have a lot of teams in the college basketball realm nipping at the heels, and especially in the SEC baseball realm. I think they could probably get 6 or 7 or maybe even 10 host sites out of the 16 regionals. So they're dominating at that aspect of it, but it'll be interesting to see what the Bayou Bengals do this year.
Yep.
And then we move down the list. We go to Georgia at number 8. Any objections there? I know that they kind of have a question mark, and I don't know if it's fair or foul. Kirby Smart took a lot of heat for losing that Notre Dame game, and then I think that when you peel back the layers on what Kirby had to deal with that day, you had the attack down there at the Sugar Bowl down there on Bourbon Street. His father unfortunately passed away, and in that same weekend, I just think that what Kirby he took him to heights higher than anything that Mark Richt did, and Mark Richt rode the ship and did really good for Georgia. Had really good teams. He ran into a buzzsaw because
he couldn't get over that hump though at Georgia because he was going against Saban every year.
You had Saban, you had Urban at Florida. It just
Les Miles.
You had Les Miles at LSU, and then Gus Malzahn in the Cam Newton year. So I think that Georgia's in a really good spot. I don't think that the fans, in my opinion, should be punting on Kirby at this point. So, and then
no, I mean, Duke, he won 2 back-to-back natties when they've been, good at 9-3 when Richt was there, and Kirby finally got him over the hump.
Yeah,
it's like sometimes the fan expectations they need to dial it back a little bit.
Yeah, I also think that this isn't the BCS anymore. You can lose a game, and it's not like they're out there. And I mean, Kirby's the highest paid coach in all of college football for a reason. And we'll slide down to somebody that took major heat here, Kalen DeBoer in Alabama. I think Bama's going to be better. I've said this until I've been blue in the face, but last year Alabama lost almost 40 guys to the transfer portal, and that is counting Caleb Downs. That is, counting Julian Sayin. So I think that Alabama lost major pieces when Saban retired. I know people are going to say, well, it's Alabama. Well, there was a whole dynamic that changed down there, and I think that from some of the people that I've talked to, the offense isn't going to change. The change is going to be who's running the offense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to be the biggest key factor into helping Alabama maybe get over the hump. And they're a team I would keep an eye on because I think they're going to be looked at as, well, that's not Nick Saban anymore. And then we got –
right. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing too, Duke. I mean, they have what? A 9-3 year when they've been in in the playoffs since it started, really. I mean, what year did they ever miss the year in the playoffs? Because I can't remember. I mean, every year Bama was always in.
I would have to do some deep diving and look and see if they ever missed the playoff, but I don't. I mean, even still being in that conference, what it was, you had Kirby win back-to-back natties. You had Saban and then you had the reign of Dabo, and in which I don't think that the Dabo thing. I think people need to get off of Dabo's ass for all intents and purposes, because Clemson is changing. They were small. It took them a long time to do that, but Dabo's not sacrificing the integrity of the program to trying to bring in everybody and their brother, because I mean, you can look at Florida State and see where Florida State and Mike Norvell ended up, and it was not in a advantageous place. We'll keep rolling down the list here. Illinois at 10. Shocked to see the Illini up that high.
Oh, good old Bert. He's going to have those boys ready to go.
I don't hate.
They'll be good. I mean, they could sneak into the playoffs, Duke. I
wouldn't be shocked. I haven't really deep dove and looked at their schedule, but Illinois is somebody that I think is keep an eye on big time. I think that's something that, keep an eye on that team. And then South Carolina. What is South Carolina going to be with Lenora Sellers? Can he stay healthy? Can they get over the hump? Because, they had a close loss at Alabama. They got blown out by Ole Miss, and they completely crapolied on themselves against LSU early in the season, and that was the 3 losses that kept them out of the playoffs. So I think that they're a question mark. And then a real shocking thing, I talked about this at the top of the show, Michigan, Sharon Moore and the Wolverines, Bryce Underwood coming in at number 12. Do you see it or no?
I don't know. All the stuff's starting to come out now, Duke. I mean, what was his name? The president left. He's gone. Moore's got that 2-game suspension. It's getting real dicey up there in Ann Arbor. So I mean, that could play a distraction for Michigan in this upcoming season. Is Bryce Underwood really worth the hype? I mean, everyone's talking about him. I need to see something.
I mean, we're gonna know early in the season, because I think they have Oklahoma week 2, and we're gonna figure out what Michigan is real early. And I think, that's something that comes with, what the Big Ten has done this year. You're gonna find out early what Ohio State's all about. And you're gonna find out early what Michigan's all about, because they have to go to Norman. Dave's here going 11-0 into the game. So we'll see what transpires there with the maize and blue. Coming in at 13, the Florida Gators. Gator Nation.
Someone's pounding the table for DJ Lagway.
So I think that Lagway and the Gators have a hell of a shot to do something this year. But I mean, in the SEC, it's their flip side of it. And Sid says, I think BV is done at OU. We're going to get to them because they're on this list. I think what Florida's done, Carmani McClain is going to start early, I guess, at corner for the they're going to start him at cornerback, and it's something that he is, a lot of people gave up on Carmani whenever he left Colorado, said he's not, 5-star this, 5-star that. Well, he's going to get an opportunity to start this year, and he's back, going in year 2. He was a preferred walk-on. I'm assuming he's on scholarship, or he's got an NIL package that is comparable to mitigate some of those costs for him. And we're going to see this kid go out on the field and earn it this year. So
yeah,
that is something that I'm looking forward to. And then we have the Storm and Mormons, BYU coming in at 14. So what are your thoughts on BYU? I mean, they went out there and wrecked shop against Colorado, BYU was a playoff hopeful. They stole one from Utah out there. I think that BYU sitting in the Big 12 is anything. I mean, they got a shot just as good as anybody. I mean, Arizona State got picked last year, and they ended up winning the whole damn conference. We'll get to that, Dave. We're gonna get to that. Yeah, I think I don't know if Oregon plays Michigan this year again.
Let me fact check that real quick. Hold on 1 second here.
I'll move on to the next couple of teams.
They do not play Oregon this year.
So we'll move on. Arizona State at 15. Are you in?
Forks up, baby.
Can Kenny Dillingham replicate the success that he had?
Oh, I think those boys are bought in down there. I think they're gonna take the Big 12 this year. Who's that quarterback, dude? They still got the same quarterback?
Yeah, Sam Levitt, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Sam Levitt. Yeah.
Levitt or some Levitt, I believe his name
Levitt.
is. And then we go to a team that, kind of underachieved, still had a decent year. Sid says ASU goes 10-2, could be a possibility.
I think they still make the playoffs.
You've got rolling in next, Kansas State.
Who's there? Is Avery Johnson still there? Or he hit the portal.
Avery Johnson's still at Kansas State. No Indiana, no Penn State. So, yeah, Michigan's schedule is set up for them to be pretty decent outside of the Oklahoma game. We're going to get to that. Iowa State, Matt Campbell.
They're Big 12. I see them second.
You think they make the Big 12 championship game again?
I think they do.
I'd have to look at their schedule and see what the likability is on that. I haven't looked, but, this is Joe Klatt's list.
Right.
Starting the back half of this list, awful schedule and 2 buckets of potatoes. Yeah, so coming in at number 18, the Hurricanes of Miami. Where are you sitting on the U? They changed defensive coordinators, bringing in Carson Beck off the UCL injury. Are you in on Miami or out?
I'm out on Miami. I don't think Carson Beck has the fire in his belly. I mean, I don't know. He just doesn't strike me as somebody I would want to entrust my team with. He just has that face dude, are you with us? Are you playing football? What's going on here? You said you don't like playing football now? What is it? Which is it?
Sid says he doesn't buy Mario. Trojan Fight says the USC future replacement. Who you talking is the future USC replacement? Nah, probably not Mario, and I don't know if you're going to be able to pry Dillingham out of Arizona State, just in my opinion. We'll move on to 19. Texas A&M, Marcel Reed. Are you in on the Aggies?
Let's see who they got. Aggies. Who'd they play in the bowl game?
You'd have to look that one up. I can't remember. He says Clemson. Is that going to replace USC on Notre Dame's schedule? That is a good question. I don't think so, because I think we'll pause the list right there while you find that information out on the A&M stuff. Okay, conference realignment. This is what I think's going to happen. I think the Big 12 is in trouble. I think the ACC is more viable because they have ESPN behind them. What do I think is going to happen? I've told Carter this. I think the SEC, Big Ten, and ACC are going to whack up the Big 12 teams, and they're gonna consume them. And I think that, if you're somebody like a Houston that doesn't want to join either conference, but I don't know if the SEC is going to open the books for anybody in the Big 12.
I agree with that, dude, because it's gonna be a Power 4 conference.
Because I could see maybe the AAC getting an accreditation on this, like they take Houston back. It's just basically a cobbled together Big East. But I could see the Big Ten taking Kansas. It's more their flavor profile.
Their brand, yep, Midwest, basketball.
Because I
could see it.
And it helps the 4 flagships that jumped over from the Pac-12. If you could add Utah or either another team out west and then possibly split it and ship some teams, but
there are teams joining the Pac-10 in 26. So you would have to, Utah will go back to the Pac-12, the Pac. Who else is in the Pac-12 or Big 12?
Arizona State, Utah.
They'll go. I think they'll go back to the Pac because when 2026 hits, there's 6 teams joining that conference. Boise State. Who else is there?
They basically raided the Mountain West.
Yeah, the Mountain West. Yeah.
The Texas schools will be fine. That's the backbone of the Big 12. Yeah, I think that's something to be said there. I don't know how the Big 12 is going to shake out because I think legally Kansas State are tied together. You have Oklahoma State, Houston, Baylor. It's just TCU. So I don't. And we'll get back on the list now. I don't disagree where Texas A&M's at. They lost a lot up front on the defensive line. The Singleton kid, Nick Scorton. So I think that Texas A&M, we'll see how they reload. Another one coming in at 20, which I think this team is highly underrated. Ole Miss. Where you at on the Rebs, the Confederates?
Well, let's see if they can not lose more than 3 games and lose to a shitty team.
The Kentucky loss is what derailed them from the playoffs.
Yeah.
Looking at Ole Miss, I think Austin Simmons could come out and be a baller this year. He played pretty well in the Egg Bowl. So I'm in on Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss will be able to make some moves. Going next, we have Indiana at 21. Do you disagree with Indiana being ranked in Joe Klatt's top 25?
No, I don't think so because Signetti can recruit. He's probably gotten some guys in the portal that he snagged up. Who do you get from Notre Dame? What was that kid's name?
Pat Coughlin. What up, T-Guns?
Coughlin.
And he got the Mendoza kid from Cal, I believe. So I think that Indiana, depending on what it looks like schedule-wise, I haven't really dove into schedules. I think Indiana's sitting right where they need to be. Coming into at number 22 on Klatt's list, it is the Auburn Tigers with Hugh Freeze at 22.
Hey, they had a big recruiting class this year.
They had a huge recruiting class. My guy Siski talked about their quarterback room being completely overhauled and redone. I think that was the biggest mistake last year that Hugh didn't do. He didn't go out and get a quarterback. He should have got Riley Leonard, I believe he was from Fairhope, Alabama. That is also AKA God's country because I would move there in a minute with a house on the beach. But I think Auburn's defense last year, Kelly had them rolling. They just couldn't get it together on offense. In my opinion, Peyton Thorne, and it just wasn't a good situation. But I think that, I mean, a lot of people give Hugh a lot of things, say a lot of negative things about him. I have no ill will towards Hugh, but I think he got a baller in the Jackson Arnold, and if Jackson Arnold can turn it around and they can put up 28 points a game, I think Auburn's going to have something to say about the SEC this year.
Yeah.
So moving on down the list, Iowa at 23. It's Iowa. They got the Gradkowski.
Can they discover the forward pass, for crying out loud?
Oh man, I know, but the Iowa puts good tight ends in the league, and they have good running backs. So Iowa plays sound defense. They don't have the best athletes in the world, but regardless, Kirk Ferentz wins 8, 9, 10, 11 games every year. So they figure out a way to get it done out there in Iowa. So I don't have anything bad. I mean, Iowa's one of those teams that's middle of the pack, but I think what the difference is that you have a huge difference between Illinois because they have the Altmaier kid opposed to Gronkowski. Maybe this kid will come in and ball and light up the scoreboard. Over under on how many times Iowa scores over 35 this year?
I say under 4.5.
We'll see. And then we're about rounding out the list. 24, the Baylor Bears. Does Dave Aranda got to really do something this year to stay off the hot seat? I don't think Dave Aranda. It may be Big 12 championship or bust. He's got to win. I think he's got to win 8, 9 games because they were trying to fire his ass in the middle of the season. He had the debacle in Boulder, losing that in the last minute. I think that's just something that is unforeseeable. So that's just something that, you kind of got to deal with. What say you on the Baylor Bears?
I mean, I really didn't watch them last year, so I couldn't really tell you much. To call for the coach to be fired in midseason is a little ridiculous. I mean, Baylor's been decent the last decade.
Now, under Matt Rule, under Art Briles, we all know how that whole thing turned out. And then rounding out the top 25 for Joel Klatt's list,
Boomers?
Oklahoma. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I think Oklahoma, Auburn, Ole Miss, A&M are all going to have something to say about the SEC this year.
You think it'll level out the playing field with the portal this year with all 5 of those teams?
I think out of the teams that got better, I think Oklahoma overall got better to a certain extent. They brought in the quarterback from Washington State. They brought his OC with them. They shipped some guys out, brought some guys in. So I think Oklahoma as a whole, as a totality, as a whole football team, I think they got better.
I think they give Venables 2 more years, and if Venable doesn't get it done in 2026, he's out the door.
Dave's here says Oklahoma has a shit schedule though. Nah, it's gonna be. I think Oklahoma is one of the teams that's gonna be slept on this year, and I think they'll win more than 7 games. I think Venables saves it this year because he's got a quarterback that.
I think they go 9-3, Duke.
Oklahoma. I think they'll play good defense. I mean, they shit stomped Alabama last year, so we're gonna find out because Sid says they play Michigan, so we'll figure it out. Some of the notables that did not make this list. No Colorado. What are you on the Dion train?
I'm rooting for Dion. I think he's brought them from the depths of college football to being talked about. I'd like to see what can transpire in season 3 without Shador and Hunter.
Yeah,
can he effectively recruit top tier talent?
And I think Dave's here's referring to probably Juju Lewis. I believe his name is.
Colorado. For Colorado.
Yeah, and then they got.
I remember they got him, but I couldn't remember where he came from.
And then they got the Salter kid from Liberty. So I think Colorado. Oh, he's talking about Meter at Oklahoma. So yeah, I think Meter's going to be good. He brought his OC, lit up the scoreboards in the Pac-2. We'll have to see if it translates. But I think another team that got better was Auburn. I think Auburn got better at quarterback. They completely elevated their room, bringing in Jackson Arnold, flipping Deuce Knight from Notre Dame, which was the worst kept secret ever. We tried to tell people that at the end of March last year, and nobody wanted to listen to us, but had the inside track on that one, but nobody.
Hey, what do we know?
Yeah, and another team that was not mentioned on this list is there is no Tennessee.
Yeah. How about that?
What are you thinking as far as Tennessee goes this year? Are you in, out, upside down, or how are you thinking on Tennessee?
Tennessee, I mean, the big question is always at quarterback. Even like told Nico to kick rocks, who do they got waiting in the wings? They lost Dylan Sampson to the draft.
Yeah.
They lost Scorton.
Sid says no Nico drops them to 8-4. I don't know. Tennessee's going to be a tough draw this year. In my opinion, Tennessee's it's going to be tough. It's going to be a tough year in old Rocky Top. I don't know how much it's going to change things. I believe Tennessee has a big-time quarterback committed. So I think that's something to be said. I think that you've kind of – I don't know, by Nico leaving, you've punted the season. But you just got to see what the other guys in that room can do. If they can salvage it, I think 9-3 is the ceiling. I think 6-6 is the floor before people get restless. Charger, what up, man? Well, I got you here while we're talking schedules and stuff like that. The Notre Dame 12-year contract with Clemson, hot, cold, inside or out? What are you thinking on that?
I like it. I think it's going to be good for both schools. I'm looking forward to it. I think it could potentially maybe be a new rivalry game for the Irish. For 12 years, I mean, if you're playing them 12 years, and let's say Notre Dame beats them 8 out of 4, shit, they got that rivalry. I mean, that's a rivalry right there. Because they do play an AC schedule, dude.
Yeah. I think as long as they can – if Florida State can kind of get their poop in a group and Miami be decent, those additions to Notre Dame's schedule will be okay, and then you can always throw 2 of the lessers on there. I'm not – and Sid says Fran Brown signed an NIL deal. That's weird. I have to look into that. One of the other things too, just admit you're an ACC team. No, never. Here's we'll pause it and go back on this realignment thing. On the realignment thing, I'm going to shut the old TikTok down. Come on over to the Andre Duke show with Carter Smith, if you would. But so TikTok's down. Here's where I'm at on this. We've got a big issue. I don't think that Notre Dame joining the Big Ten is the be all end all, in my opinion. What say you on that? Because the way I look at it is that if OSU owns the Big Ten, they're still in the Big Ten. Here's where I'm at on it. Why would you want to give up control of your schedule?
That's true. I mean, you're going to be playing
at noon.
Yeah. And I hate those noon games. I hate them.
I do not want to play at noon every week. I mean, the Big Ten is legit, but the TV deal sucks.
It's god awful.
And you're most likely going to have Notre Dame, or not Notre Dame. You're going to have the Texas-Ohio State game, which should be a night game. Should be a 7:30 kick. It's going to be played at noon. I just have zero faith in Fox not to put it at noon because they don't want to compete with ESPN.
They should. If they're smart about it. They kind of need to gear away from the big noon, having the big game at noon. It's big noon, but that game is a top 10 matchup, top 5 matchup of the season. Most hype coming into summer, fall camp. Why isn't it a night game? Every game like that has always been a night game, Duke. It's never been right smack dab in the middle of the day.
Dave's here makes a good point. I don't disagree. I'm still going to watch it at noon, but I'm not going to like it.
I got to rush my morning workout. I got to clean the house. I got to keep the wife happy with making sure everything's picked up. It's a rush on game day mornings for me. It's like the 7:30 kickoff. Hey, it's perfect. I can take my time. I can keep the TV on leisurely and get geared up towards the build up of the game at kickoff at 7:30. The noon kickoffs blow, man. I'm so sick of them.
As Sid says, we'll bitch and watch.
He's right.
No, Dave's here says, I'm on the West Coast. Suck it up, Nancy. Yeah, that's got to be hell for people that live.
Oh, that would suck too. 9 a.m. you got to get up. Jesus.
9 a.m. But, the thing is that on the West Coast, the only advantage is that if you get up early, football is done at 10 o'clock for you. Yeah,
it's not done till 1 o'clock for me. I'm up at 4:15 every day, so I got a long ass day. I maybe sneak a 20-minute nap in here and there, but shit.
It's awesome done by noon. The only thing I'll throw in there is that it would be nice, but that's just like the NFL and the London thing. I don't want to dive into that. I'm not going to dive into that hole on this show.
Don't get me going on that.
Because they're bad games. They sent the Giants Panthers to what was that, Germany, when we were up at your house? Giants Panthers. We were watching that while we were eating pancakes, thinking to ourselves, this is bad football.
Oh God, yeah.
And I'm with Sid here. I
love Pac-12 After Dark.
Yes. So I guess we can transition a little bit. We can hop onto the odds for Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. I'll just read them off to you and just.
I've already placed my bet.
Ashton Genty plus 270. You in or out?
Out.
Cam Ward.
Out.
Travis Hunter.
Out.
McMillan.
Out.
The Hampton kid.
Hampton.
Omarion Hampton, the Chargers took him, North Carolina running back.
Maybe Hampton. Maybe.
Dave's here with a London tidbit. The people
He's
in
right.
London consider Jacksonville their teams. That's how often the Europe games suck.
Yeah. He's right on that.
That's
Shad Khan loves London.
Wow, I think he lives there part-time. Quinshon Judkins.
Out. No line.
Tyler Shook, Saints quarterback.
No.
Matthew Golden.
No.
Jackson Dart.
Definitely a no.
Tyler Warren.
Tyler Warren. The tight end.
In Indy.
You don't have a quarterback. He's got Danny Dimes and AR2.
Shador Sanders.
No, dude. Those Browns rookies, man, they got a while.
Colston Loveland's the last guy on the list, that plus 2,500. So who?
Maybe. I mean, he's got a quarterback, but that's not who I'm picking.
Who did you take?
I put a $5 bet on Emeka Egbuka.
I'm going to go with Harold Fannin Jr.
Harold Fannin?
Yes, the tight end out of Bowling Green.
The Camp McKinley graduate from Stark County.
Yes. That somehow Ohio State didn't get him. Should have won the Mackey, but Tyler Warren won it because he played at Penn State. We'll move over to the defensive side. As Sid says, who? Yeah, he played at Bowling Green last year and led all tight ends, I believe, in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. Guy balled out. So, defensive rookie of the year, Abdul Carter.
Yes.
I think that Jalen Walker.
No.
Travis Hunter.
Maybe.
I think that Travis Hunter, Malik Williams, Niners. Nah,
No.
I'm out.
Mikel? Is it Mikel Williams?
Mikel. Sorry, I ain't got my contacts in. It's a little fuzzy. Shamar Stewart, Cincinnati.
Cincy.
Cameron.
Yeah, with them trying to move Trey Hendrickson, I mean, he could step up.
Yeah, so, and I'll buzz through this and get us out of here. Mason Graham.
I like that kid. I mean, that was a good pick for the Browns. I'd say maybe. Mike
Green, the Marshall kid that dominated at the Senior Bowl.
Where'd he go? He didn't go to
He was a former 4-star that transferred from an SEC school, and then he went to Marshall.
He went to Marshall. Yeah, he went to Marshall. But who drafted him? Was it
the Ravens?
Oh, well, Ravens always draft studs. They got Malachi Starks on there?
Yes, he's got the least odds at 2,500 on this list.
I think that kid's going to be a stud.
I think he is too.
I honestly, I know when we were on the show, we were talking about the draft. I said I'd love to get Ibuka because the wideouts in Tampa are Mike's getting up there in NFL terms of age. But I really want Malachi Starks at safety because that kid was a baller.
And then I'll buzz through the last couple. Jahad Campbell, James Pierce Jr., the Barron kid that went to Denver, Walter Noland. Any of those guys? I think
Jahad Campbell will be good. That Philly defense is ridiculous.
I know.
I think that kid's going to be something too.
Howie Roseman's batting 1,000 right now. Howie Roseman is batting 1,000. And then real quick while we got it, while I'm thinking about it, since we talked about Abdul Carter, what do you think about Abdul Carter? Phil Simms and LT told him to kick rocks on wearing their numbers respectively.
I don't blame them.
I don't either.
Get your own number. Make your own. The number. You don't make the number doesn't make you. You make the number.
And also on the Alabama front, Kalen DeBoer sat down with Pate and said, "I want those expectations. We came here for that." As far as the Alabama folks being upset.
I think they're gonna right the ship this year.
And then one other thing. Oh, this is a wide receiver trivia question for you.
All right, shoot.
With all the wideouts out there, who is second all time in receiving yards over the age of 40? Or what player has the most receiving yards over the age of, or second most over the age of 40? I'll say Jerry Rice is one, but do you know who is number two?
It's not Art Monk, is it? No, because he didn't play that long.
Nope.
Even in here. I'm going to say T.O.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
Nope, T.O. didn't play in his 40s.
I know. I was just a lucky guy. I couldn't think of anybody else. Who?
Tom Brady. 6 receptions for 98 yards.
Dude, that was a trick-ass question. Come on.
Or, sorry, 1 catch for 6 yards. Sorry.
Ah, Jesus.
Hey, I'm just here delivering facts.
He's a quarterback. He ain't no wideout.
Also, here's another crazy stat for you. Do you know that Jim Harbaugh has more rushing yards than Bo Jackson?
Yes, I knew that.
That is something that I found interesting on the internet. And then one last thing before we get it out of here. You know what's kind of crazy when it comes to Jalen Hurts' career? When he started at Alabama, I'm just going to name these signal callers he's had, offensive coordinators. 2016 Alabama had Lane Kiffin / Steve Sarkisian. 2017 Brian Dable. 2018 Mike Locksley. 2019 Lincoln Riley. 2020 Doug Peterson. And then 2021 Nick Sirianni, Shane Steichen. 2022 Shane Steichen. 2023 Brian Johnson. 2024 Kellen Moore. That is, and then the new guy that Philadelphia brought in this year, that is 10 different play callers every year that he has played since his freshman year of college football. Shane Steichen's the only person he had in back-to-back years.
Wow.
So I think there's something to be said there. And then I guess we got 2 minutes. Here's a buzz list of a mock draft for 2026.
Browns getting Aller at number 1.
Nope. Saints, Arch Manning.
That makes perfect sense to me.
Tank for Arch, but I don't think Arch is going to come out. I think he's going to stay at Texas. Drew Aller to the Browns.
Caleb Downs at Titans?
Huh?
Caleb Downs to the Titans?
Nope. I'll just read you the list. Anthony Hall Jr., the great linebacker out of Texas. Number 3 to the Giants. Caleb Banks, number 4, defensive tackle, Florida. To the Jets. Reuben Bain, edge rusher, to the Titans. Lenora Sellers, number 6, to the Raiders.
Ooh, I was going to say the Panthers.
And then Peter Woods, 9 to the Colts. Kid out of Utah to the Browns.
Lineman?
Yeah.
What was his name? I just did my thing on my franchise. I can't remember.
And
I know
then,
who you're talking about.
And then the round out the top 10, Caleb Downs to the Patriots.
Yeah.
So that is what we have in a nutshell. And CBS Sports posted this today. I know we're running a little over, but CBS Sports posted the top 10 transfer portal quarterbacks. It is Nico to UCLA, Carson Beck to Miami, John Meter to OU, the Mendoza kid to Indiana. Those are the top 4. And also one guy on the list that I would like to mention, Miller Moss to Louisville and Connor Wagman to Houston. Keep an eyeball on Houston this year. I'm just telling you now, keep an eyeball on Houston. Willie Taggart can coach some football.
Yep.
So I guess with that being said, we can wrap this thing up. Any final closing thoughts, questions, concerns, comments, Rich?
Hey, I think this Saturday we got 15 more Saturdays till football season.
Yes, I believe that is correct. That is. Let me confirm. It would be 109 days, but who's counting?
No, who is counting? Thank God for the UFL.
Right. So with that being said, Rich, I don't have anything else. You got anything else?
I got nothing else, Duke.
I believe that's a wrap. If you could, smash that like and subscribe button. Help us grow this thing. Steel City will probably be coming at you sometime this week. And the main show, which is this show, will be back probably most likely tomorrow. So if everything's rolling well, we've had, a lot of snags. It is summertime. Everybody's got kids and everybody has obligations. So with that being said, everybody have a good night. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we will see you tomorrow, hopefully.
Have a great night, everybody.